can be as creative as you want to be. Some people completely bead their dream catchers. That takes lots of work and lots of time because each stitch you have to stop and bead first. And sometimes with that you might want to use a needle as well to make it quicker on the beading part. And I've done that, but it takes quite a lot more time than doing a basic dream catcher that we're doing today. But you still can adorn your dream catcher and make it fun and personal to you, and or to the person that you're giving it to as a gift. I am at my beginning again, and I have to decide what I'm going to do. And I've decided I'm going to use blue and white pony beads. And so the first thing I'm going to do is pick up a pony bead, and I have to get to the end of my string, and then I'm going to just slide that bead on, which is a little difficult to see on the film, I'm sure. And you can use bigger or smaller beads than this, but this is a fun size. Now, you have your bead on, and you do the same stitch as you were doing before. Bunny ears, over, under, and through the loop. Now, the trickiest part is just deciding which side of that stitch you're going to put your bead. So, I did my stitch. Now, I can do two things. I can put a bead on and then do a stitch and then do another stitch and then put a bead on and kind of make it a pattern. Or I can put a bead on at each stitch, which is what I'm going to do today. So I put a blue one on here, and I'm going to put a white one next. I have a nice iridescent white that's got quite a lot of shimmer to it, which looks really pretty. Now, as you continue on with your beading, you see that it takes quite a bit longer on the rounds where you're adding beads than it did to just do the basic weave. What I suggest to you is if you found it difficult, only put beads on one round, and that helps you to go quicker, and then the rest of the way you can just weave your way into the center. However, if you enjoy putting the beads on, you can do them on each round from here on out, or you can put multiple beads on each section. So instead of putting one, you could put 3 or 5, and however many would fit in that section, and have a fully beaded loop in the center. Now, I could continue to bead and head inward, or I could just weave. Now, if you just decide to weave, you need to think about which side of the bead are you going to do your stitch. So as we're weaving, and I'm finishing up, I have one more round to go, your dream catcher is a woven web, kind of like a spider's web, and it protects the child's innocence and keeps them from having bad dreams. But you have to have a center where the good dreams can come through. And we want to have good dreams and think about positive things, and all of these things are things that you want to put in while you're doing your dream catcher. So you want to be thoughtful of those positive things as you're making your dream catcher. So as we're finishing this last round, we're going to come around, and you got to keep remembering to give it a little tug as you're progressing, and some of them get a little tight, so you might have to use a fingernail or two to slide through some of those tight holes that are happening. I have one right now that's a little tight, but it's very easy if you just take your finger a little bit and give it just a little bit of a tug. If I made my bunny ears just a little narrower, I would be having no problem. There we go. And then you pull it through just the same, and you're going to give it a little tug. We're getting closer and closer. I'm about halfway around. Now it's getting tight. If you want, you can skip the bunny ear and just use your tip. And it's still the same stitch, but you just are foregoing the bunny ear, so you go over, under, and then just pull it through your loop without having your bunny ear. And sometimes down at the very end, that's a little easier, is to use that. The bunny ear is much easier at the beginning because it gives you some structure to pulling it through, and you don't have such a long string or piece of sinew to work with. Now, again, under, over, and through the loop. We're getting so close to our beginning here. And we have, I think, 2 more stitches and then we'll be done.